Today we're going to talk about joy. If you probably heard the word, sometimes joy and happiness get a little mixed up, I think, in definitions, but I think joy is more important than happiness because joy kind of is something that's a little more solid as a foundation. I think happiness kind of waxes and wanes a little bit more. So one thing that I figured out probably a couple months ago, one little trick that I found was I was first of all I was realizing that I was not super joyful, honestly, in a constant state. I was finding that I was just looking really what I call the big joys. So today I'm going to be discussing what I consider the little joys. But I was looking for the big moments in life, kind of looking for the high highs, and then usually those are rare and in between. They don't happen too often. So I was looking for these big joys, and then I'd come crashing down after that and kind of feel low after it for a little while. And then I'd look for the next one, and it just wasn't very sustainable, I don't think. So I was looking back at a lot of my days and just kind of feeling frustrated and be like, that was a tough day. If your family is like mine, I have little kids, sometimes bedtime is the hardest time, and it may be only like 3% of the day, but sometimes that 3% can, sometimes they call it, take that dry eraser on the whiteboard and wipes out all the good parts of the day, and then my brain would basically focus on that 3% of the crappy bedtime and say that day was frustrating, that was a hard day. So what I ended up just having pop into my head a couple months ago, this is my useful tip for how to find joy in a practical and simple way. And I'd love to hear your thoughts too, if you find ways that help you with joy. This is kind of a sharing part. So if you have anything that you can think of that's been helpful for you, this is my little tip and trick to finding joy on a daily basis in a very simple and practical way. So what I was noticing is what I call little joys. This is the thought that kind of popped into my head a couple months ago, and I found it really helpful. Is I do this before bed, but you could do this any other time, is I like to replay in my brain kind of my day that happened. So I call them mental movies. I'm basically trying to re-see and re-feel the day that's happened before me and try to look for the little happiness or the little joys that took place in my day. Which is really what our life is made up of. Oftentimes, I think we're going so fast, or our brain likes to focus on the negative, that we miss all these little wonderful moments of life. So this is a great way to go back through your day. It's a great way to go to sleep, puts you in a really positive mindset, is just look through those wonderful moments of your day. And they're usually really simple things. So some examples of what I find really helpful is, or little joys for me, is my son tends to come downstairs with this big giant personality that he has. He's usually very smiley. He usually gives me big giant hugs. So I just try to replay a moment that in the morning when he came downstairs and gave me a big smile or a big hug and said, "Daddy, I love you." Something very simple like that. It could be a moment that I just get to go on a walk with my wife. It can be something as simple as today, just the sunshine or hearing the birds chirp, and just trying to feel that again, not necessarily just always just thinking about it, but trying to feel, get back into that emotion of that moment. And it doesn't have to take very long. We also got a trampoline yesterday. I don't know if that's good or bad, but the kids have been so joyful just hearing their laughter and their excitement and seeing their excitement of just being able to jump on this trampoline that they've wanted for years. So it's just simple things like that. It's just going through your day again. It doesn't have to take very long, but it's really a wonderful way just to kind of look for God's blessings in your day. There's just so many little moments that I think get missed. And this is a simple trick that I've found to just relive your day, look for those simple joys. I think it's a little bit more consistent to keep joy at a more consistent level than just looking for the big highs or the big joys, as I like to call them, in your life, which, those are obviously fun to celebrate too, but they're usually not very often. So hope you found that helpful. Has that been helpful at all for anybody, or do you have anything that you'd like to share? Where did I find my trampoline? They've been really hard to find, haven't they? I spent a Saturday morning, I got on right in the morning, Sherry, and there was 10 left. Most of them weren't even available or weren't going to be around until June or something. There was 10 left, and by the time my wife and I decided just to go for it, I think there was 3 left. That was probably within 20 minutes. So I don't know, you either got to jump on them fast if you can find it or not. So, but that's where I found my trampoline. Any other comments from anybody on what you find helpful, or any questions about me or for me about what I'm calling little joys? I'll pay attention here, but appreciate everybody that joined in today. If you don't watch this live, thank you for doing that as well. You can always watch these later, of course, or go back on my Facebook page and pay attention to the things that we've been putting out. So I'm going to be here every Thursday at 1 o'clock unless there's for some reason that I'm not able to. I might be switching again. I'm going to probably be switching a little bit more into mental health here for a little bit, because I think with all this COVID-19 stuff going on, there's a lot of people basically that are just frustrated with life. They're overwhelmed with life. And I kind of want to switch back to one of my favorite topics, which is my health wheel, or my stress wheel is what I call it. And so I might start breaking that down a little bit in kind of a simple form. And it's basically looking at life from different versions of stress. There's a lot of people that say I'm stressed, or sometimes they just say I'm busy. That used to be the case prior to all this. Just so busy. But let's try to break down stress in the way that I like to break it down into different categories. And it's a little self-assessment tool to say, where is my stress coming from? Where is it the worst right now? And then trying to basically think of simple, practical steps. If you've learned anything about me, I like simple and practical. But simple and practical action steps to help manage or do stress management in that category. So it's more about trying to create, I used to say balance, but now I actually like the word harmony. It's trying to create a little bit more harmony in our life. So that's probably what we're going to focus on in the next couple of weeks here is my stress wheel. Again, looking into stress management. I think that's really where we need to be at this moment, with a lot of people feeling very overwhelmed. But it talks about physical stress, emotional stress, chemical stress, and then there's always spiritual stress. And in the center of it, I call soul health, S-O-U-L. So that kind of goes with the joy. So this is a little precursor to that. So we'll kind of start with the joy. Kind of the centerpiece of life, I think, is finding purpose and meaning in your days, and go from there too. But thanks again, everybody. We'll wrap this up. And again, post your comments below if you see this later or you think of something that you want to share with somebody. I think this is a community that we want to be here to help each other. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your day.